Welcome to today's edition of Mental Health Matters. Today, we're going to be talking about relationships. I have Jeremiah James on the show with me today, and this is part two of him sharing his story about his relationship. Get you something to drink, get you a snack, and come on back. So, Jeremiah, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back.
Thank
So, I want to jump right into this. I want to know, how did you propose to Christina? How did you plan it? Who did you talk to? Was it hard to keep a secret? Yeah, let's talk about that.
So I did it right. I made sure to ask her dad, asked him for permission. I asked her mom for permission. And then I think the one that was most important is I asked her son for permission. Since I was joining in their family and I was going to be a part of it, I sat him down and I asked him, hey, would you be okay with me becoming your stepdad? Would you be okay with me marrying your mom? And after I got all the blessings from everyone, I then had to create it. And so it ended up, what I did is I had a credit card that had a little bit of a limit on it. Not after I was done. But I went ahead and I got her a bunch of little prizes. I got her some necklaces and things. And then I took a bunch of photos that we had been taking together since we started dating. And I sent her away. And when she was gone, I lit probably 70 some odd candles in her little apartment. And then I got changed into a nice looking suit. And then when she came home, I handed her an envelope, and the envelope had instructions in it. And it said in the envelope that I was not going to talk the whole time. And so every envelope had a different location to go to, where it had another necklace and another photo of us. And each one said something that I loved about her. And it was something that was about us. And each necklace represented a piece of that. And then at the very end of the whole thing, I handed her the last envelope, where it went ahead and asked her, I have one question for you. And I took a knee and I asked her. It was very perfect. The whole time I had music playing in the background and all the candles and everything else. And she was shaking and crying, and it was perfect though. I wouldn't have planned it. I couldn't have planned it better. Like I racked my brain on all these different ways, on all these big, huge things, and take her to a baseball game, put it up on the screen, and all the different things. And I wanted to find something that was us. And I felt like the thing that was most us was something that was intimate and private. And it was only little things that would mean a lot to me and her. And doesn't mean a lot to anyone else. It doesn't, if someone else got that, they'd be like, oh, this isn't going to make me cry. This isn't going to move me. But it was something that touched her and it touched me. And it made sure that it was something special for both of us to remember. So
that is awesome planning, because it was definitely very personal. And I like the fact that you was able to send her away. And I like the envelopes. I like the fact that you put on a suit and you just kind of, how long did it take for you to actually figure out that that's what you wanted to do, like in that way?
Well, it took me, I went from something bigger. I was going to go for something real big, and then I scaled it down. But here's the thing. I was stuck between two scales of like a little bit bigger or right there, what I ended up doing. Well, it was also during COVID when I asked her. So it was right after the whole shut down. And I was like, I'm still going to ask her. And I went ahead and did it. But it was it also changed my options, but also I feel like it made it what it was perfectly. If I would have done it a different way, it wouldn't have been as amazing. So it took me a while to do it, because I also had to get all the photos. I had to edit all the photos, and I had to do that. And then I had to get them printed. And then I had to, it took a while, and also getting everything delivered from Tiffany's took forever to get it all together because so many people were on shutdown. So then it took a long time to get everything from Tiffany's. I thought I'd get it all at once, and I got it in like sporadic pieces, but I still found when I finally got everything, I was like, all right. And the other fun thing was I talked to her brother. I also asked for his blessing, but I talked to her brother, and he was like, I'm asking my girl on this day. So I was like, cool, because I'm asking my girl, I'm asking your sister on this day, but they were right after each other. So it actually ended up being pretty cool. So
very nice, very nice. Man, that's pretty good, man. Very well thought out. Very well thought out.
Thank you.
How was it meeting the rest of the family? Because I know her mom kind of introduced you guys. But how was it meeting like her dad and her brother and sister and the rest of the family? Were you nervous?
Of course. Anytime you're meeting significant others, family is always a nerve-wracking thing. What if they have a really strong personality? What if they don't get along with me? What if they say something I don't agree with? What am I allowed to disagree with them? So there's so many things that go up in the air. But one thing you always have to realize, and I was loved by most of the parents of the girls I've dated in the past, but with Christina, it was one of those things where I felt like this is so much more important because she is so much more important than all the other girls I've ever been with in my past. So it was terrifying. It was incredibly terrifying. But she kept telling me, she's like, it doesn't matter. You're not dating them. You're not with them. You're with me. And so when I took that in, I was like, all right, I'm just gonna throw it in there. I'm just gonna be me. I'm just gonna be the most polite version of myself I can be, but still be myself. And it worked out well. I think a lot of it is once you're with the right person, and if the parents care enough about you and your parents are good, nurturing parents, and once they see how much love you have, how good you feel, and how amazing they are at lifting you up, then they're going to like your significant other. Even if they don't like them as a person, they don't want to hang out with them, they're going to like them because they see what they are doing for you. So
right. That's really good. I know it's interesting. I'm just going to be transparent. My sister and my brother-in-law relationship had the opposite effect on my family because it was very unhealthy from the beginning, toxic and things like that. And it was always one of those things where I felt some of the family members put her in a position to choose between her husband and the rest of the family. And so I, was trying to be the one to kind of like be mature about the situation, and it was a mess. But I do like the fact that when you see that someone truly love your son or daughter, regardless of what your person's feelings are, you know this person have your child best interest in mind, and that should be all that matters, not the personal stuff, you know. And so that's good. That's very good. Very, very good. I want to move on to Aiden. How is it like having, because it's your stepson. I just want to call it in. It's your stepson. How does it feel to have a stepson? And just tell me a little bit about their relationship.
It is a mind-blowing experience. It's very interesting. It's taxing for sure. It's one of the hardest things to do out there in the world. But I went and got my hair cut today. And I got my hair cut, and I was talking to the hairstylist as they were doing my hair, and I was like, yeah, I'm doing a little interview later, and they're going to ask me about being a stepfather. And the hairdresser just pulled back, just, oh, I hated my stepfather. And I'm like, see, that's what I'm paranoid about, because you hear so many people, there's so many negative things that go in with being a stepfather. But then I remember that when things go amazing and things work out and it's very bumpy and it's very trying, it's not about me. It's not about how the world views me or anything else. What it's 100% about is about how he sees me. And it would not matter if he called me a stepfather or if he just called me Jeremiah for the rest of my life, then none of that matters. What
Yeah.
matters is he knows he's safe. He knows he's taken care of and everything else. And that's a weird thing to wrap your head around. It is, because once you go from being, you're just a single person taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
And you're used to taking care of like one other person, that's it.
Yeah.
And then there's that no 9-month nesting period to get ready and slowly, like, you're both learning something. You're literally hopping into a family and a dynamic that already exists. So it's a trip. It's something crazy. But it has been, since I've been a part of his life, probably one of those insanely amazing, like, it changes everything. It changes everything. I'm so much more concerned about everything else in the world than I ever used to be. I was only concerned about myself, my little bubble, and my effect on the world. And now I'm concerned about the effect of the whole world, because I'm like, I have a person that's going out into it, and that freaks me out. Those concerns never happened before. I've gotten a lot more gray hairs from it, but it well worth it though, because once you realize there's more to be concerned about than just yourself and just how you were living before, it changes and opens everything else up in the world. So it's a very phenomenal experience.
Nice. Do you feel like you are sharing a lot of your personal experience, life experience with him now to prepare him as he become a young adult? Or what would you say your parenting style would be? Like, do you feel like you sit down and teach him more, or
what? a lot of the thing now, this is where it comes in. As a step parent, you are never the decider of these things. It's not you. It's not you. You're just there sometimes. Sometimes you're just there. And that's so weird. It's so weird to just be there, because you're like, let me input my will on this. No, it's not for you to do. So sometimes I just need to be there. Sometimes I just need to watch. But also you have to understand that you are still the outsider to them. They have a father, they have a mother. You're just this third party that's coming on in. So sometimes I sit down and we go through things and teach things, but I had more of a militant style growing up. Children are meant to be seen, not heard, kind of thing. And so going into more of an open style of parenting, where it's explaining things and chilling the things and stuff. And when I was a kid, you didn't ask why. It was just yes or no. I mean, there was no follow-up. That was it. With him, there's a lot more follow-up, where we encourage him to be curious and everything else. But I do have a lot of fun exposing him to different ways of thinking and different things out in the world. But also, you have to do it all with a grain of salt, because you don't want to trample on anything that's already built, or any foundations or any memories, because just like in a relationship with your significant other, this child is still coming into this relationship with scars too. And so you need to know what things have been dug in, what things have been burned into him and are already set in his ways, that you can't touch. You don't want to change. You don't want to push. Instead, just know, hey, if you ever want to talk about that, or you want to ever have issues with it, I'm here. But it's one of those things where it's a very, you have to like go in for it, test the water a bit, and then back off, because you need to find that good balance. And some days you're going to do it great. Some days you fail horribly at it. But either way, you just got to keep being constant. You can't get frustrated with it. But it's one of those things that they come in with their own baggage and their own luggage. Unlike your relationship, where you got to be like, no, I choose you, I want to help you carry that. As soon as you're in that relationship, they're like, this is also all my other luggage. And then you have to tell them like, hey, I will help you carry this for the rest of your life. And that's something it's still, to me, every day when things like that happen, I'm like, I didn't know this existed. All right, now I know. You know, because children want to be seen, and they want to be heard, and they're trying to become their own individual person. At the same time, though, they have multiple different people and things dragging them in all different directions. And sometimes you just got to be the silent watcher and hope that everything is going to be for the best. And the best way to do that is just keep being there for them. Let them know, hey, I'm always right here.
Yeah.
That's the best way to be that
Yeah.
I've found so far.
Yeah. That's pretty awesome because, um, you know, I like the way you laid all that out because everything you're saying is very, very, very accurate. But I do like the fact that you realize that, you know, sometimes kids have their own things that they bring into the relationship with the step parent as well. And it's good that you are sensitive to that because you know that that can potentially
Yeah.
affect you guys' relationship as well.
100%. But I think one
Yeah.
of the coolest things to remember too for people that have children and might be getting with someone that is going to be a step and everything else, um, is that your person that you chose that you're going to marry or and whatnot, or that's just your partner, that person is your forever person.
Yeah.
You want to die in the arms of that person. You want to be next to that person from now until for eternity, right?
Yeah.
Your child is only around for right now. Kids
Yeah.
grow up, they leave the house, they move on, which they're always going to be a part of you. They're always going to be in your life.
Yep.
But the fact is like you can't just say my life is 100% about my kid and about no one else. Some people can do that and they're good for them. That's awesome. But when you're also having another relationship that you're building and growing with, and especially going to be getting married soon, all that, you can't forget you two because you're the forever person of that other person.
Yeah.
It changes a lot of the world when you finally look at it that way too. So instead you're like, I'm going to do my best to prepare this person for the outside world and everything else, and I'm going to let them know I'm always here. But at the same time, this is my person I've chosen to be with
Yeah.
the rest of my life, and that's it's a different world. But also being able to be like, hey, but we chose each other, and we chose to make sure we gave you the best life we could, and that's still pretty gratifying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's yeah. It is true, and I don't think people really look at it like that either. That kids grow up,
Mm-hmm.
kids gonna move on, go to college, have their own family, but the parents are pretty much there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's also good to realize that that relationship should still continue to grow. Like you guys, like you're Christina, y'all still need y'all time together
Yep.
outside of him, and then but you and him need time together outside of her, and vice versa. Do you and him get a chance to spend time together?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We do things that me and him just do, and sometimes me and him just hang out together, and we don't do anything.
Yeah.
And it's always good. And then, but the other thing is too is that like Christina is such an amazing mother, and she really is an amazing parent. And here's the big thing that I think every step parent, or you're walking into that role being a step
Mm-hmm.
parent, the other person that's been doing this longer than you that already has their child, they are still a single parent. They're still a single parent because unless you're cruising in and they're an infant, you're the outsider. You
Mm-hmm.
don't get to go ahead and pop in and discipline whenever you want. You don't get to go ahead and be like, I'm going to sign them up for sports because I think they should be or whatever. No, you are just on the sidelines, get to get tagged in every now and then. But the thing is you always got to be there, ready to play. But sometimes you're not going to be played, and so you
Yeah.
just let them deal. But also have the mindset of this person is a single parent. I am dating. I'm going to be marrying a single parent, because then what you're going to be able to do is help treat them the way they need to be treated, and understand they're exhausted, understand they're having, all the pressure of the world's on top of them, and you need to be able to help lighten that load or be able to hold on to it for a little while to make sure everything works out.
Yeah.
So it's something that's slightly like some people are like, oh, I don't want to hear that because I want to parent. You're going to get plenty of chances. You have tons of chances through the whole life, but you'll have to also understand that, hey, you know what? Every now and then I'm going to have to just be on the sidelines,
Yeah.
and you have to accept it and grow with it. And it's a weird feeling being able to be. You have to be helpless a little bit, but at the same time, being able to push forward makes a lot of difference too.
So tell me, what is the one thing that you love doing with Aiden?
One thing I love doing with Aiden, there's like so many different little things that me and him have. Sometimes me and him have played games where we just use our imagination the whole time. Sometimes it's building things together. Um, Sometimes it's just sitting back and listening to a story. Sometimes it's I'm such a fat kid. One of my favorite things to do is to introduce him into new foods and new treats.
Uh-huh.
And sometimes he loves them and sometimes he hates them. And sometimes I do it just because I'm like, I know your mom wouldn't do this, so I'm going to do it for you. And it's silly, but like some of my times, my favorite thing is when it's just me and him, and I'm cooking him breakfast. He sits
Nice.
there and he talks his ears off, and I make him food, and he gets his food, and he's over the moon. You make the best breakfast. I'm like, yes, I do. Like
I love that.
it makes you feel so cool. Or when he
Yes.
sits there and comes in and goes, he's like, well, they had their dad there. Like, yeah. He goes, you're bigger. I'm like, yeah, I am. Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
Like it makes you feel cool. Like
I love that.
like the two fans I only care about having in the world is my fiance and my boy. That's all I care about, because when the first time I met Aiden, he told his mom that he's like, he looks like Aquaman. I was like, yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I look like that, guys.
Yeah.
I felt like a superhero. I felt like the coolest
Yeah.
guy in the world. And so
Yeah.
anytime that I can look bigger than life to him, and anytime I get told I'm the best of anything, you could rock, you could do anything, it's just so amazing. And once you want to feel like that all the time, you're like, I can do, yes. And then you want to make them feel like they can do anything. And
Yes.
it's so funny because a lot of people think you got to give and give and give to your kid, and you do, and they take and they take and they take, and half the time they barely give back. But as soon as that one comment gets made, you're the best at this, you're the greatest at this. I saw my friends' parents and they're not good at that. You played with me, you played with my friends, you helped us out. When they give those little acknowledgments, it fills your cup again and you're ready to give more, because it's just those little tiny things they do that just make it all worth it. The whole rest of the time you're sitting there battle and battle and battle, and you're like, I feel so drained, I'm so exhausted. And it just takes that one day where that kid looks up and goes, you're the best at this, and you're like, thank you. And it just makes everything feel a lot easier. So it's one of the coolest things you can ever experience, especially that. So my favorite thing to do with him is just anything where I get to help him grow and become better, and he gets to look at me and go, you're pretty cool. I'm like, thanks. Like it's an amazing feeling. He just started getting back in. He's getting into comic books a little bit, and I'm like, my fingers are feeling, I'm ready to go. I'm like, all right, do this. I'm ready to play, coach. I'm ready to put me in. And it's so exciting because you never know. Kids have a million interests. A million interests, and they change from moment to moment. And so some things you'll know nothing about, some things you'll know everything about, but as soon as you start talking about it, they've already changed. And it's such a trip trying to keep on track and trying to keep with it. But like I said, just for that one moment, everything else clicks.
That is awesome. I will tell you this. Well, first, I love hearing the relationship that you have with Aiden, because my dad wasn't there, but I did have a stepdad who, when he was around, he was able to pour things into my life that I still use today. Those nuggets is still some of the things that I use today. And it is important. It's important that, like you said, to talk and give him the space to become or like some of the things that he want to like, and like the comic books a little bit and just things like that. And because he's watching you, and you're there every day, and you are going to be able to, I think that you're going to be able to have a really major impact on his life, and a lot of decisions he's going to make is going to be because he see you as being a good husband to his mother. You know what I'm saying? The way that you're treating him, and he can trust you, come home knowing that you're not going to hurt him and you're there and things like that. That is huge. especially being a male, and you got that male figure home, because this just my own little firm believer. I don't think that women can raise sons, but a man has something different to add to the table that women don't got, and that's vice versa if it was a girl. And so I think that's amazing. I think that's absolutely amazing, man. Good job. Good
and
job.
I think that's can never be said enough is the way you treat your significant other and the way they watch that. That's the kind of relationships you're setting them up to have in their experiences. So if you treat them to have a functional, happy, growth formed relationship where you're always growing and changing, but you're always doing it together, that's something that they're going to be able to continue and move on with. And they know the difference because they know when their moms are upset, they know when their dads are upset, and they know when, oh, this is how it's supposed to be. This works. This makes sense. And so that's something that's always very, very powerful to have.
Yeah. Wow. That's so. Let me ask you another question. So have he ever came to you with a problem or situation that you felt like, oh man, like I don't know if I fully know how to handle this, or have that happened to you before? Like, I want to make sure I handle this very delicately, or just because it's have that happened to you yet?
Yes, it has. And whenever that happens, I I hate this sound this way, but if that happens and you get caught off guard and you're not sure what you can say, what you can do, and all that kind of stuff, it's just a point where you got to be like, all right, you haven't talked to the other person, you haven't talked to your actual parent right now, so you need to be a diplomat. And so I give the political answer I can, where I'm not choosing any side, but I still talked about it. Sometimes that's the best way. You got to walk that fence line. And just because, and sometimes what I really enjoy too is watching him think about it. Sometimes I think that people don't do that enough with their children. They do, this is the fact. This is what we believe in this household. No, open their minds. Be like, this is what some people think. This is what other people think. What do you think? Because then they sit there and they think and chill, and then he'll come back at me with, this is what I think. And I'm like, that's right in the middle, or all right, I get why you feel that way. Because you're giving them all the information in the world that this is all they have right now, is what they're bringing up to you. And unfortunately, in this world that we live in currently, he watches YouTube for a lot of answers. And we have to come in and be like, this isn't true. I mean, when we were kids, we didn't have that. Everything my parents said was the gospel. That was it. That was all that existed. You want to learn something? Here's the paper. Read it. So here's a dictionary. Look it up. So now we have a whole other things to go with and battle. But all you can do is just keep it true and try to still open their minds to, you need to explore some of this too. Sometimes that's part of it too. Until you can talk to the other half, you got to be a politician and keep the peace.
Yes. Very, very smart. What advice would you give someone that's going to a relationship and potentially is going to be a step parent? What advice would you give that person?
Listen so much. Don't just listen because being infatuated with someone and being in love and being like all about that person, you start to tune out everything else. And that's just normal. It's what you do. You're like, oh, my significant other's there, my person's there, my other half's there. I want to listen and focus only on them. But when that other person, when they're talking or when they're doing something, how's the kid reacting? Is the kid reacting? Or talking about the child, you need to listen to everything they say and take it all in. Because they will tell you their hopes and dreams and everything they want for their child. And guess what? Newsflash, it's all the same. They want their child to be successful. They want their child to be happy. They want their child to be healthy. But how do they want their child to get there? And your job is not to change their mind or dictate, hey, you did it wrong. I think this should be how it's done. Your job is to sit there and be like, I will try the best of my ability to try to help us get there. Now, maybe you disagree, and it's okay to disagree. Because as long as you have those little disagreements, then we can both open up, and maybe we choose a different route where it's a little bit in between both. Or maybe you're just going to get told you're wrong, and you got to accept that. It's okay if you're told you're just wrong, because you know what? You're the one that's hopping into another situation. You're joining a current family that already exists. And you don't get to go into someone else's house and tell them how to live. Even if it's your house, it doesn't matter. You still got to sit there and be like, I need to be kind. I need to be courteous. I need to understand. I'm still like, right now, I'm a guest. And though I live here and this is my people, like, you have to acknowledge it and slowly grow with it and change with it. And it's a trip, but it's when you're finally invited in for more things and more things, all those other things that you let pass by and all those other things you're like, oh, I don't know how to react to this. You get more out of waiting and listening and slowly changing than trying to just change everything off the bat.
Yeah. Wow. We've run out of time, but I really do want to thank you for sharing your experience with Christine and Aiden. I really, from the bottom of my heart, I really, really like the information that was shared. And I really pray that somebody watch this and really learn from it, because you share a lot of good, organic, healthy information about the relationships and being a stepdad. I could not agree with you more about, the boundaries, and just checking in with Christina, and just it's when it comes to it's so important. And I don't know, like it's like it works. Like, it's like you guys got it. Like it's there.
It just takes a lot of communication.
Yeah, yeah. So thank you so much. And I do want to man, if you could think any other shows that we have not done that you want to do, let reach out to me, let me know, because I really enjoy doing this with you.
Yeah, not
It's
a
a lot
problem.
of fun. For
Thank
sure.
you.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Very much.
Okay. And that's it for today's edition of Mental Health Matters. If you enjoyed this particular show, if you would like a copy of the show, or if you'd like to be a guest on our show, please dial 916-366-4600. Thank you.